Hello Ride On Faithful. Today I'm going to be riding in a car. Firstly my car, and then going to have a little ride in the Ford F150, the Raptor. Now I've owned lots of cars, I've owned lots of bikes, and so why am I demoing a car today, or a truck? And why the F150 and why the Raptor? Well, firstly, I've always liked trucks, and I've driven the Tundra and the Ram and F150 new generation, and I just think there's something solid about the Ford trucks that I like. The interior is very quiet and well screwed together, and although they're a little bit on the pricey side, the residuals are strong. They are the biggest selling truck in America or the world, and also in actual fact the biggest selling vehicle in the US. So why the Raptor then? Well, it just looks so badass. There's no other way of putting that. It just looks an awesome looking truck, and I've always loved the looks of it. And I think for 2017/2018 they've made some sensible updates. Now they've moved from the traditional 6.2 V8 engine, which a lot of people say is a bad move, because obviously nothing sounds like an American V8, and I get that, but also those engines are heavy, they're thirsty, and you know, the bottom line is those type of trucks are expensive to buy and expensive to run. We get that, and you shouldn't really moan about that if you're looking at that, but equally at the end of the day the money's coming out of our pockets, so if we can improve the economy, that's good, but we never want to improve the economy without performance improvements. So what have they improved in terms of performance? Well, a couple of things really. Firstly, they've gone to the aluminum body, and that's saved about 500 pounds in weight, I think, offhand. Additionally, on top of that, they've moved to 3.5 EcoBoost engine, but they've really boosted it. So power is significantly increased, as well as the weight drop, and in fact the truck's now putting out with the twin turbos 450 pound-per-feet of torque and 510 horsepower, so it's not lacking in terms of punch. And the power to weight ratio of that truck now is very good. They've also increased the suspension travel in the Fox off-road shocks, and made a whole host of minor little tweaks here and there in terms of the Ford oblique on the tailgates now standard, for instance, and just a few minor cosmetic tweaks as well. The sound, that will be the thing for most people who love normally aspirated V8s, and I'm one of those people. I'm normally no substitute for cubes, right? Even though the car I drive is both supercharged and turbocharged, at the end of the day I would still, generalising, prefer a larger normally aspirated engine. I think there's less on them to go wrong, they're more reliable, yada yada yada. But having said that, everybody in every type of vehicle, manufacturing wise, is downing the CC and adding turbos to get a good compromise between economy and performance. And Ford with the Raptor is no different. If you've got a truck that's in ideal conditions doing 14 to the gallon, that's not ideal for most people, whether you're using it for commercial reasons or pleasure. And if you floor 6.2 Raptor, you're probably going to get considerably less than that, down into single digits, and that's no fun when it comes to filling up. So the new one, I would say my prejudice is against engines like the EcoBoost in the past have been very much Sure, it's fuel efficient, sure it's powerful, but you don't get both, right? And I think there's still an element of truth in that. If you floor it, you're not going to get the economy. It's going to be closer to the V8s, and if you feather it, you're going to get much better economy. But I think on average, you're going to get probably 15 to 20% better, and I think Ford themselves claim 20% better. So, for instance, somebody who I rate in terms of truck reviews would be Ronan at TFL Truck. Check him out, particularly for in-car or in-truck footage, which I'm not going to do today. I'm just going to give you my feedback after driving it. He mentioned that his long-term 6.2 truck, which I think he drove for 44,000 miles, he averaged 14 miles per gallon, all things considered. When he got his hands on the 2017 Eco Raptor, Velociraptor if you like, that increased on initial impressions to, I think just his first drive was near a 16 to the gallon, so it's kind of there 15%, 20% better. And that's one thing. But the other thing he noted with it was that performance was significantly, in his view, improved, and that's due to the massive weight loss and the massive power increase as well. So I'm interested to drive it today. It's now gained the 10-speed box over the 6, and that's obviously helping fuel economy as well. I'm interested to see whether that feels laboured, or whether it thinks it's got the right gear, whether changes are seamless or not. And additionally, I'm interested to see how the gearbox works with the paddle shifters. And the paddle shifters are very nice, actually. They're not just slapped on some plastic piece of crap. They've done it properly. They're not even machined aluminum. They've actually put on magnesium paddle shifters, which means they're light, they're strong, and they're cool to the touch. And in Georgia, I don't know if you can see out the car window, it's still, we're in a couple of days away from December, and we still have weather like this. It's stunning. Things that are cool to touch when you get in a car when it's 90 degrees outside and 110 degrees inside it. It's kind of nice, really. So, thumbs up to Ford on that front. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. Let's get in it, go for a ride, and I'll give you my honest impressions when I return. Stay tuned. So what goes into a 2018 F150 to make it worthy of the nomenclature Raptor EcoBoost 3.5 V6 twin turbo? Well, the primary changes for the current Raptor all revolve around increasing its power to weight ratio. Ford claimed the new aluminum alloy body shaves off around 700 pounds, and they also claimed they use high strength military grade alloy in that. It's a heat treated and hardened aluminum alloy, which they call 6000 series, and it's utilised apparently in military and industrial environments. Ford are really kind of pushing the strength of that aluminum that they use, but they still kind of stop short of replacing the frame with that as well. Maybe it's on cost grounds, but 78% of that still remains high strength steel. Generalising aluminum will increase power to weight ratio, improving performance in terms of acceleration, deceleration, fuel economy and handling, but steel is more resistant to damage through heavy impacts. So Ford have retained it kind of where you want it in terms of crash protection, but removed it where it benefits the customers in terms of overall performance. So for heavy commercial use, there's an argument for steel, and for residential consumer use, aluminum certainly has its benefits. The F150 Raptor is running the high output 450 horsepower, 510 torques, 3.5 litre V6 twin turbo EcoBoost through a 10-speed automatic box with magnesium paddle shifters for control and torque on demand transfer case. The dramatic weight loss and significant power increase, coupled to the new 10-speed box, really boost overall performance and economy. Ford claimed the Raptor is up to 20% more frugal in real-world conditions, which probably improves the combined cycle from around 14 miles per gallon to around 16. Tyres are BF Goodrich all-terrain. Fox Racing Shocks provide the shock absorbers with up to 14-inch of travel available this year. The 410 front axle has a Torsen diff, and there's an all-terrain management system with 6 driver selectable modes and hill descent control. Voice activated Sync 3 control is available along with the regular concierge type app service Ford Pass, and Apple CarPlay is also an option. Blind spot, cross traffic, lane keep, pre-collision, I think, are all handled by the technology package, and the radio is an XM type. Visually, the Raptor is a knockout with the big bold Ford logo front and centre with integrated marker lights, leaving you in no doubt that you're being stalked by a Raptor. Brake and sway control is standard for when pulling a trailer, and it has a big 36-gallon tank as standard on the crew cab. It's actually 26 on the Super Crew. So some gas stations might not let you completely fill a tank from near empty from the pump itself, purely on the amount payable. And purely for looks, 17-inch forged aluminium beadlock capable wheels are available too. Inside it has powered seats and dual climate control as standard, with the Bang & Olufsen or B&O premium sound system as an available option. Cruise control is standard, but you'll still pay more for desirable features such as the auto high beams or the mandatory, in my personal opinion, 360-degree camera system. The interior is well appointed, but the available carbon fibre package really defines that you're driving something special and a bit more unique than the average truck. In Super Crew configuration, Ford claim it has the same overall length as a regular F150 fitted with a 5.5 foot bed at 231.9 inches in total. However, it looks to be a little wider, and Ford claim 96.8 width with the mirrors, which is not inconsiderable as general road vehicles go. So quite a big machine and pretty cool looking. But more importantly, how did it ride? Well, let's find out. So then, I'm back from the ride, from the demo, and big shout out to 2 salesmen there, Alison Krause, Ford and Lincoln, which is on the outskirts of Roswell and Atlanta in Georgia. The salesman Victor and Eric Boland, really nice guys, no hard sell, all the time in the world for you. Very kindly, after letting me drive their Mustang a couple of weeks back, let me drive the 2018 F150 Raptor, and also the F150 Limited, the top of the range F150 in terms of luxury. So that was interesting to see compare the two. So what did I think? Well, unlike the Mustang, it definitely appealed to me. It kind of reached out to my soul a little bit more. It was a lot more engaging. It's a really big, cool looking truck, obviously, with the big Fox Racing Shocks, which have a bit more travel this year, and it's just a very badass, cool looking truck. I like the way you get into the vehicle with the fixed running boards, which are at a perfect height just to step in effortlessly into the cabin without having to use the available grab handle that's fitted. And the cockpit is very well appointed. It's immediately comfortable. Doesn't have the nappa leather of the Limited, but it's very nice leather inside. The one I had the 802 package, so it's got all the cool stuff you need, like the 360-degree camera, active cruise control, and so forth. And then in addition to that, it also got technology package, and the carbon fibre package, so all the trim on the doors and the gear shift were all carbon, which was really nice. Overall, that works out about 70 grand for that particular black truck that I drove. Now, in terms of initial thoughts, I thought it was going to be too wide, really, to drive on the road. I was a bit concerned about parking spaces and stuff, and the F150 is no skinny mini, but the Raptor is about a good 6 inches or so wider still. So I was a bit concerned about that, but in actual fact, in driving it, no problem whatsoever. I'm quite a conscientious driver, but I thought I'd be constantly, adjusting the steering to make sure that I'm centre of lane. But I actually had sufficient room either side of the lines when looking in the mirrors, which are absolutely enormous. Actually, they're like a laptop strapped to the side of the truck. Ride quality was much better than I was expecting. Being off-road focused, with real Baja, desert charging suspension, I expect it to be really a bit soft and mushy on the road, and maybe if treated like a real sports car, really thrown around, it would be a little bit soft. But generalizing, it was just really nice, because every time you hit a pothole or anything like that, it just glided over it like a hovercraft. It was really nice comfort. So I really liked that. The steering was well weighted. The gearbox is great. 10 speed, you just don't feel it shifting. When we got out on the freeway, pushed up to 70 miles an hour, and it was just like 1800 revs. Nothing, just put the active cruise control on, just sit there for 600 miles in total comfort. Loads of space. I'm 6'2", I had plenty of headroom, plenty of shoulder and arm and leg room. And when you put your foot down, it sounds nice. Now the sound is augmented, we know, like most modern sports cars, really, to be honest. It's got both sound augmentation and also sound deadening, so it kind of in theory takes away the noises that you don't want to hear and enhances the noises that you do. It'll never sound like a V8, but that doesn't mean it can't sound good. I mean, you can really hear the twin turbos scrolling, and plenty of induction noise, and it's got a nice kind of zingy V6 sound all of its own, and I really like it. After a while you stop caring about whether it sounds better than a V8 or whether it's enhanced or not. You just think, dang, this thing sounds good. So that's cool. And also I really like the paddle shifters, as I mentioned. They put some cheap nasty plastic nonsense on, and they're not even just kind of machined flat aluminum. They're magnesium, and they're nicely machined with the way in which they've cut them, and they feel nice to the touch, and they're easy to use. And I knocked it down like 4 or 5 gears very quickly with my left hand, and it obliged very quickly, and put my foot down, and it shifts. There's no doubt about it that you can feel the extra grunt that Raptor has over the regular truck. It's very torquey and it's very pokey, and unlike the Mustang, that torque is very accessible, very low down, which is what you really want in the real world on the road when you're not at a racetrack, right? So overall impressions are, I really like the truck. I really felt that it kind of spoke to me, and the only real reservations I have, other than the fact that it costs 70 grand, which is a lot of money for somebody like myself, and for the average man in the street, a woman in the street, I would imagine. Apart from the fact that it's a 70 grand truck, slightly offset by the fact the residuals are ridiculously strong, and if you live in California, you'll pay $20,000 over MSRP anyway, just to try and get one. Apart from the cost aside, there's still a little bit of a caveat in terms of its physical size. So for instance, this evening we're going to see Lady Gaga in concert at Phillips Arena in Atlanta, and we're parking at CNN parking deck. Well, that will have a head height restriction, no doubt, to get into the physical car park, and it will have, because it's kind of multi-story indoor car park, and then also the parking spaces may be a little bit slimmer, given the fact that ultimately it's a parking space in the city where parking is a premium, and as is often the case in big cities like London, etc., the parking spaces are smaller, and that concerns me a little bit, although to be honest with you, I don't go into the city that often. And up where I live, the parking spaces are designed for F150s, really. They're big and wide, and the truck is enormously long as well. My garage is 21 foot long. That ain't long enough to fit a Raptor in. And also the head height, I think, is about 6'6" or something to get into my garage, and I think the Raptor's taller than that. I'm going to have to check the dimensions on the website. Salesman Alison Krauss were kind enough to say, you know, if I'm serious about it, it's no issue running a truck up to the house and just seeing whether we can get it in or not. Even if it doesn't fit, sometimes it's nice if you can get the front end or the back end in, just for loading, unloading, or detailing, etc. So we'll see. So I have to collect my thoughts a bit, you know, do some more online builds, compare different trucks and stuff, but I think it's a definite possibility. And just in a very brief summary again of the limited model. A limited model has firmer suspension, it's that little bit slimmer, and the ride on the road is a bit more tactile. You feel more what's coming back from the road in terms of the grip of the tyres, etc. And it has a few more bells and whistles in terms of luxury, and it's got the Napa leather rather than the regular leather. But it felt a lot more like my Volvo XC90, i.e. like a really nice luxurious SUV, really. And that's nice, that's cool, that's fine, but that's kind of what I've already got. I'm looking for something with a bit more character, a little bit more kind of style and engaging fun, really. And I think if I go for a truck, I think the Raptor is something more unique, something that bit more special, and I think overall, if you want the meanest, baddest, coolest Mother F truck, you need an F150 Raptor 2018. Drop the mic.